Okay, perfecto, ya estamos. All right, so now let me go ahead and grab this link. Okay. For those of you that are hopping on the pre-show, welcome, welcome, welcome. This is the man you wish you were me.net is where you can find him. His Instagram handle is you wish you were me, and he goes by good fella is his is what
It's
his
what it's what I am.
is what his kids and his wife call him.
Yeah,
You don't mess with this man right here.
I'm kidding everything.
No, these are all quotes. This is exactly look, we're being paid for him so that I can say exactly that para su
Yeah,
introducción.
for real.
Perfecto. Entonces, so yeah, bro, aparentemente el trabajo te tiene medio complicado, ¿eh?
Yeah,
Con
oh my goodness.
todo lo que pasó. For those of you that don't know, we've been trying to get this man on for ya un mes ya. No, es tan bárbaro, tan complicado el horario, más difícil encontrarle que Biden, imagínate tú.
Yeah, no. Es que entre el trabajo y los horarios, que I'm a regional director of admissions for a small college, so
Oh, nice.
there's
Okay.
sometimes it gets a little tricky in the
Right.
evening.
No, I'm sure. I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure. And I'm just messing with you, brother. Of course. Of course. I appreciate
yeah,
you
yeah.
coming
No,
on here.
and that and the heat.
Yeah. No. Oh my gosh. Seriously. Seriously, they did so good. They did so good this year, bro. Oye, pero
Yeah.
we're trading a bunch of people ahora para el viejo este. What's up with that, bro?
They're trying to. I mean, they're for what I read and I hear, they're trying to you know make a good package, but they're being stubborn on the other side. So it's
Right,
negotiations 101.
right. True, true, true.
How they can get something else, and but the guy
Okay,
wants to come here. So
yeah,
Dillard, and he's a beast. So
eso sí, eso sí. All right, I'm almost done here. Shorten and track the YouTube link. Yes, yes, and we're gonna call this episode 110. 110. Okay, yeah, let me send this out now. And send. Yes. Let's do this. Okay, perfecto. Ya estamos. Awesome. All right, cool, man. Entonces, so was Rueda your primary? Because, like, okay, so in my story, and the Andres Fernandez post 2004, 5, 6, like, yeah,
right,
you already like you're already out by the time that I'm. I think I told you I was on the phone. I'll probably say this in the episode too. When we go,
hmm
my first time out was at Mystique's, and on the flyers on the table at Mystique's was the flyer saying that Salsa Casino was merging with Salsa Racing.
right.
That was the first
So
time I
that
went
was
social dancing.
wow.
So that's wild. So my question to you is was that's right. In my story, como yo like no inventé, pero creí el sistema de enseñar casino, de bailar en pareja, porque everything that I saw was pure rueda.
Right.
Y así aprendí yo. I started with rueda. Like,
hmm
was that your case also? Did you teach rueda? Was there any system from when you were learning or teaching that anyone was doing pareja?
When
Fuera de privates, of course. I'm talking about group
when
classes.
I learned, there were no schools. So think of I'm Ecuadorian,
Right.
right? I mean, I grew up dancing in my house with my mom, my aunts. Bailamos. It was a dancing family, obviously.
Uh-huh.
So I remember a Christmas holiday party at work, and there
Uh-huh.
was a coworker who happened to be going to college with me. We're college buddies, and she's very sweet Cuban girl, super nice. Y bailo con una canción con ella y me dice, "You dance pretty good." It checked my ego a little bit. I go, "What are you talking pretty good?" Like I feel like, I always got a compliments, great compliments. And she asked me if I knew how to dance, casino or rueda. Back then they called it just rueda. And I go, Salsa Cubana. I go, no, I never heard of it. And I go, oh, why don't you come by? So we went a couple of weeks later, went to a place called Treetop.
Yes.
So
Okay.
I remember getting there. I mean, I'm talking now, I'm dating myself back 91,
Uf.
92.
Ya tú sabes. Y
Okay.
supuestamente está corriendo todavía.
Okay. I get there, we go to the last floor because it was a beautiful club. And I dance a song, and you start eyeing people. Wow, these people are pretty good dancers. And then they bust out a rueda.
Uf.
Well, I sat down, obviously I didn't know how to dance a rueda. And I did not get back up to dance the whole night. I was just in awe of it. So I just asked my friend, so how do I learn? Where can I go? Who can teach me?
All right.
And she goes like, well, there's nobody really that can teach you. And I go, no, you're going to teach me. She goes, I don't know how to teach. I go, don't worry about it. We'll figure it out.
All right.
So we go to her house, my best friend, his wife now, and his wife's sister. Just us four. Go to her house. And we got out of her, al medio abajo, exhíbela, dile que no, dames, the adios, enchufla, and dedo. That was it.
That's not bad. That's not bad.
All in two practices. We went 2 days, that's what we were able to get. And then I would say the rest will teach you there because we were able to figure out our way
Right.
through,
Right.
you know. So she goes, rule of thumb, don't get in a big rueda, get in the big ones, not the smaller ones. The smaller ones are gonna go fast. But get in the bigger ones. If you don't know the turns, just stay marking.
Right.
So I get in there and sombrero. I go, what is this? I notice they right over left. I go, okay, the
All
next
right.
time they call it around, I'll remember. Then they call sombrero. I will get halfway. I was like, okay, third time around, I figured it out.
There you go.
Right? Song ends. I go, they did a turn that was kind of like this. Okay, that call is, a Evelyn or
Right.
adios con hermana, whatever the
Right.
turn. So you just figure it out at the club live, and then you continue dancing and having a good time. So that was my pattern from there on for many, many, many months. So obviously, there were goals. I want to get in the rueda and not mess it up.
Right. 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 Right.
Then it was I want to get in the small ruedas where they go fast and not mess it up.
Right.
So back then there was a club called Oh Miami, Friday nights. That
Oh.
was a place to, and you would have like a good song would have little ruedas pop up here and there, right? And eventually everybody would gravitate to the best rueda caller, and the best rueda caller would have control of the whole club.
Right.
Well, I wanted to get good enough to be in the best rueda caller because that guy was kind of a jerk at the end of the day. Because if anybody would mess up, he would just grab his girlfriend and walk away. So
Oh
that
my
was him.
gosh.
So I go, okay, if he walks away, I don't want it to be because of me,
Right.
right? So I got that part. I started calling rueda little by little. First rueda I called was at a party. I remember back then we used to have a lot of parties, and I cheated. My cheat sheet was the two girls, right? My best friend's wife now, and her sister, Alina and Linda.
Uh huh.
So as I was remembering, I couldn't remember all of them. Also, so they would come back and whisper sombrero. So I would give him everything that started like a sombrero, montaña, dedo, whatever. Until the next one would go 70. Okay, 70 complicado, al derecho, whatever it was. Those were my cheat sheets, right?
Nice.
Everybody gave me a compliment. So then I really wanted to be the guy calling a rueda, and that was always my goal back then. Just
Nice.
call it. So going back to that place, if I will get a rueda, people will come into my rueda, and it was competing with that guy. Remember the one that would just leave everybody back.
Right. Right. Right.
Eventually, everybody will come to mine, and I became the guy. So that was the
Qué
main
rico.
thing, because I love the camaraderie. I wouldn't call turns that were like you might know, setento complicado derecho al revés.
Uh huh.
But if there's some people that don't know it, I'm not going to call it.
Right. Of
It's
course.
just useless. And there's people that do that. They don't realize you gotta have a view of the talent that you have, push it,
Right.
right? Have a maybe a couple of turns here or there that they don't know, but as long as it keeps on moving, we're good.
Absolutely.
It's when you have the dame dos, una para arriba, dame tres, y paseala, and then they're like, well, what happened? And then
Right.
you see the triple jam.
Absolutely. Inmediatamente. Right.
So everybody would have fun with me. I was known for having it was 5, 6, 7 couples that can really dance. We'll go fast. It
Nice.
was
Right.
just not too much. Alarde there or thinking process. It would just go. So, eventually I got very endeared with Marlene and Gerardo, which are anybody that knows anything about casino here in Miami and globally, it comes through them. They never had a school, but they were just so beautiful. They are Kentucky, uh, a bunch of terms that we invented, right? So Ramon, the owner of Mystique, approaches Gerardo to, why don't you teach on Thursday nights here, because this is a ghost town. And there's another story behind that. So he
Huh.
goes, well, no, I'm not going to teach, but if Ramani teaches, I'll help him. I didn't have a school. So that's when we started creating a system,
Right.
a basic, because there were no schools back then. So we created a system of basics, front and back, side to side. My theory was, if I can get everybody to do the footwork properly and know where to go, we can get 80% of the
Of course.
dancing on point.
Absolutely.
So that's why we
Absolutely.
created the walk or dile que no. We created that on a basic class. So now we know the girls know how to do the walk,
Right.
the enchufas with the back to back. The guys can do, abajo going side to side, and then just the beginning,
Right.
keeping them coming. So we created a system, and then they were getting that quick. Okay, now we divide them into groups. We had more people helping us, and there were not levels yet. It was just you teach them. I teach this group. I teach. We were
Right.
just
Right.
doing
Right.
that,
Right. Right. So it's
and
more fluid, a little bit more orgánico.
it was everything was organic because there was no system.
Right.
There's nothing, right? So the funny thing was that the first day that they opened, we had 3 people. The second week we had 13 or 12, something like that. The following
Nice.
week we had 37, 30 something people. After
Wow.
that we had flirting with 100, like 80 something. After that we had hundreds, and then it just became a crazy. It was just crazy, crazy. Within a month, we had 100 students.
Wow.
You know, and that Club Mystique, which was you went to the second one, right?
Yes.
But the first one
Correct.
was at the Hilton, much bigger, a lot of area, and it wasn't comfortable for it either. But it was very spacey, I guess,
Nice.
in comparison. And then we had to create a system, you know. So then, I met wonderful people that opened up the dance schools. Rene from South River being one of them.
Right.
I
Of
taught
course.
him. I used to give him private classes. So I gave him private salsa classes, and then he wanted to open up a dance school. I didn't see it. I'm gonna be honest. I didn't get it. I go, nah, you do it. I'll give you everybody.
Right.
Whoever wants a private class, or I'll send you everybody. Because I was going to school back then. I was playing football. I was doing other stuff. So fast forward another year, and then we already had a system. This is how we're going to teach it, by then. And then I opened up the dance school, and like you mentioned, you learn in a rueda format.
Right.
So what we did differently was that our groups were smaller. So my school had on an average 2 instructors per rueda,
Right.
or an instructor and an assistant. So the way we taught it was, yeah, in rueda format, right? But the rueda format was not only to learn the rueda part, but also to figure out the feel between people,
Sure.
right? You could have your partner, she feels one way, the next one feels another way,
Right.
and then when you come back, you realize, so we'll concentrate on that. So then we'll have everybody facing forward and do the same turns, but we'll call it
Right.
adios con la hermana. The transition turn instead of a dame was a paseala.
Sure. Okay. Right.
Okay, but you can learn how to dance on your own. So we'll call it matar dos pájaros con un tiro.
Right. Right. Right.
But that
Nice.
you didn't get to that until intermediate one, intermediate.
Right. 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 Right.
We
Right.
still wanted you to formalize in the rueda to keep it moving, because the pasea part was a little tricky.
The flow. Right. The flow of the class ultimately at the end of the day. So
Correct.
let's
Correct.
do this. Let's do this formal start. So I'm gonna hide you really quick while we get this thing going. What's going on, familia? How we doing? Welcome back to episode 110, Sabor y Tradicion with Mr. Ramani Nicola. Hope you guys were able to check out some of the pre-show as he's given us his experience in the past. In the mid and early and mid 90s, as he's starting up a school without even knowing that it's a school yet. Unbelievable. Mr. Nicola is a Miami casino legend, instructor, performer. Actually a teacher at Club Mystiques, for those of you that don't know, a super famous salsa club here in Miami for over 15 years. Had his own studio known as Salsa Casino, teaching for over a decade. Ended up having 3 locations in the 90s in Miami, Coral Gables, and South Beach. Definitely a lot of wisdom that's going to come through today. So I hope you guys are ready to have some fun with us. Without further ado, I'm going to bring this man on board. My brother, thanks so much for having us, for hopping on, bro. How you doing, man? Everything good?
I'm very blessed. Thank you.
Awesome,
Doing
man.
great. Doing great.
Awesome. Happy to hear. I'm sorry I cut you off just now because you were already mid flow. I'm even thinking about not even doing the intro porque ya tú estaba ya starting up. So okay, so where we left off essentially was the starting up of basically just, I guess, realizing a demand. Is that right? Is that essentially what ended up happening? That you took leadership, wanting to learn something, you opened it up to the public in an unofficial way, and before you know it,
Not
you have
knowing.
hundreds of students.
I had no clue. Like we were just dancing, have a beautiful time, and then asked by a club, "Hey, come and teach." And then someone who I'm extremely shy, and you wouldn't notice, but I'm extremely shy. So I can't, at first it was like very intimate, but as it got bigger, it was very difficult for me to get a microphone and even have people come. Okay, let's get ready. We're going to start. So I would have to pass that on, and so it was
Yeah.
mandated that I had to do it, and call people out with the microphone, and then just organically, like we were talking earlier, uh, go into creating a system without realizing there's a system in there. From back then I used to do quinces as well, so I would ask a lot of questions. How would be the best way to teach a girl how to do this or a guy how to do that? And out of teaching in quinces is where I developed the system of the basics and beginners one and this and that a lot of schools use right now. So
Nice.
it's cool.
Beautiful. Okay. So then when, I guess, so all of this, I guess, hype, you could say, was happening inside of Café Mystique's walls, if you would. Is that right?
Yeah, as far as teaching at a club, that and official school out there, that was it. Like back then, there were no schools. Like we are talking earlier, I had to figure it out, and people would show you, not teach you, which is a very, very big difference, right?
Right. Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
we created that, and then people, wonderful people like we mentioned earlier. I got to meet them and give them private classes, and then schools started opening up, and that's when we started formalizing more of the teaching and the
Right.
systems out there. I got a hold of syllabus, and I looked at what they had. I wasn't crazy about it, so I created my syllabus, which was more organic, which I think is more traditional for what other schools are using still to today.
Okay.
That order,
Sure.
right? Um, so it was a very organic, a very pure time, right?
Qué
It
rico,
was
brother. Qué
it
rico.
was a beautiful era, right? Of discovery, not knowing, not really knowing, because I remember, and I'm going to go back and forth. The first time we got invited to a salsa congress, which was the first one in Puerto Rico. Uh, Going to Congress for this. This is crazy, and kind of like doing my research and seeing these performers, and I'm going, we have much better at the club as social dancers. You
Yeah. Yeah. We have
and
crazy
I
talent for sure.
no, and that was my feeling to this day, right? If Miami really wanted, and we're getting there now in the process, but there was a time where I was like, if these kids really get it, they can travel the world on someone else's dime, and worst case scenario, just travel for free, dance, and come back.
Right.
So yeah, so it was very organic, like I mentioned. The teaching, the dancing, the camaraderie, the balance. Everybody came from different walks of life, but we had one passion, which was dancing, and
Qué rico.
well, yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so then, so you're how many years, I guess you can say, were you at Mystiques before se te ocurrió hacer tu propia cosa? You said that was around when you got this syllabus, or
No, the syllabus, we were, I was teaching there since 92, 93, more or less. I opened up I started teaching unofficially, under Salsa Casino. I didn't even have a name. It was just Ramani. Come and I'll
Yeah.
teach you. And it
Right.
was just, I decided in I think late '95, early '95. You know what? I'm going to start teaching. So I remember saying, okay, I'm going to make business cards where I can, because I was teaching a lot of quinces as well,
Uh-huh.
right? So what I would do is go and people will come to me. Actually, a mistake. Hey, do you give salsa classes? Do you have a school? And I would always redirect. So finally, I started. I made the business card. I remember my first student. Her name was Doris Torres. She was a Puerto Rican girl. We brought her into to teach. It was in the middle of a living room. The following week, we had 6 people. The following week, I had to have 2 groups because one was basic and the next one was uh, was at a different level. So obviously, it was just
Right.
myself, right? And I couldn't really combine them. So as they got past the basic and they were able to do al medio abajo and exhibit, I was able to unite
Right.
groups. So it got to the point I was teaching that on Sundays, and it looked like a used car parking lot. That's what I was told, and I got kind of kicked out of the living room. Because once 1 o'clock happened, there were people, a flow of people, un grupito come at 6 people. The following group was 12. The following group was 8, what have you, and
Right.
and I was combining them, but it was taking me 4 hours to teach X amount of students. So I was getting kicked out because I was destroying los rodapié, and
Right.
and then what I started doing at that point was I remember going on a bike ride with a friend of mine, and we talked about organizing and opening up a dance school. So we decided to open up the dance school. We looked for a location. We found a location right there at a place called Lily's Art Studio on Coral Way, and I want to say 67th Avenue.
Okay.
Right behind the Shell station, there was a small dance studio. So we decided to open up Sundays and Tuesdays. And I
Okay.
remember having a conversation with Rene from Salsa Lovers. He already had the school, and he used to teach Mondays and Wednesdays. And I go, listen, I'm going to open up a dance school. So the funneling to you is not going to be there anymore. But, with your blessing, I'm going to teach your off days,
Right.
right? He was kind of bummed out because we were very good friends back then as well as we are now. And, and I just started doing that, and then ironically, within 3 months, I outgrew the dance studio, and we started teaching inside and in the parking lot.
Wow.
Yeah, and then the way I got one of the better dancers, and we started creating our system or the syllabus is the way that I made them partners of the dance company versus giving them a salary. They were part owners. So the
Okay.
partnership system worked. They were very involved. They helped out with everything, and we started performing. We started growing. We had to find another place, and then another place. We ended up at a place called Ballet Concerto. That's on right off the Palmetto and Bird Road. That place,
Okay.
we had 3 dance studios. The big dance studio was about 1,200 square feet,
Okay.
and
Nice.
then you had another one that was 1,000, and another one that was 800. We
Wow.
would fill them all up. It was just
Yes.
amazing time,
Wow.
beautiful time.
What year was this, más o menos?
This was already in '97
Okay.
that we were already in the other dance school because we opened up in '96. Within a year, within the year, we're already in
Oof.
ballet concerto.
Wow, man, that's wild, bro. That's wild.
Yeah.
So what? Okay, so I'm sure that you're running all over the place in your mind, and
Mhm.
you're just just trying to satisfy everybody. But what's that like, dude? That you're a year in, because nowadays, I mean, obviously there's obviously a lot more competition now. But
Right.
what's I don't know what would the reaction be of somebody who opened in after a year opening that they have you know 1,200,
Well, that
1,200, 1,000,
yeah,
800. That's 3,000 square feet full of
full of
students.
people.
Yeah.
So the funny thing is that people that know me. I'm extremely competitive, right? So, but my competition was always internal. I never worried about what
Right.
anybody else
The way it
was
should be. Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
Back then, everybody was worrying about each other.
Right.
Oh, okay, Fulano Tal is doing this and this, and what was funny was that I would get the calls from the other dance schools. Oh, this guy's doing this and this guy's doing that. Yeah, worried, right?
Right.
Let him do it. It's
Right.
okay. It's all
Right.
good,
Right. Right.
right?
Right. ¿Qué tiene que ver eso
So
con nosotros?
it doesn't matter. It's all good. But it's something new that none of us really realized. You
Right.
know, like I tell Renee all the time. I go, you know what? If back then we instead of charging when you opened up $5 to $6, and when I opened up it was 10, it was crazy. And then if we would have done it at $20, they would have paid $20 back then.
I believe. I
We
believe it.
talk about today, right?
Right.
So the funny thing, and again, I'm going to go all over the place because when I traveled to New York back then, they go a private class here would be $35. Over there back then, I would charge 120.
Uf, ya tú sabes.
You know, and they would pay for the renting of the location. Again, it was just crazy.
Right.
So, but coming back, it was just I really never worried about that. It was just so organic. I just my main thing was to have quality instructors, which I did have. A quality instructors meant quality people,
Right.
and
Absolutely. That. Yeah.
and
There's a correlation. 100%.
100%. And we had a system. So my system, which was a little different, was that we had a way we taught extern, right? Case in point, and again, let's just do something simple like Adios con la hermana.
Sure.
Adios con la hermana, the way I prefer to teach it was the guys just go back rock and the girls walk 2, 3, and then they go back rock with an enchufle and then dile que no. But that doesn't work for everybody. So they had the freedom at that point, if that didn't work, to use whatever they felt worked best.
Nice. Okay. Beautiful.
Which back then the schools would had only one way of teaching it, and y se trocaban mucho con eso.
Right.
So I can tell by the way people would dance what school they were taught at.
Right.
If that makes any sense.
Right. 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 Right.
Oh,
Absolutely.
cool. That's from that, just by their style. My style was very fluid. Whatever worked for them, as long as they're happy, their own evolution of dance is going to take them to change it anyways.
Absolutely. That's
right?
Well said. I like that.
So,
their own evolution of dance is going to have them change it anyway by the nature of it. By the nature of it, it's art at the end of the day. 100%.
100%. So, yeah, we have our traditional way of teaching, right? Hence going sabor y tradición, right? Traditionally, we teach it one way, but your flavor, your style is going to take it to a different level, right? And I always was we had so much fun that going like, Ramani, 70 complicado, derecho al revés, with whatever, back then it was just very, very long.
Right.
How do you teach it? And I go, well, we teach it like this. He goes, no, but how would you teach it? He's not getting it. Okay, This is what I would do. Count out loud or do this. And every instructor had their own little personal touch, which I also allowed. So students felt very at ease with that. Right. They would go to different schools, because I would teach, like you mentioned, I had 3 locations. In Miami, it was Sunday and Tuesday. So Monday and Wednesday, they were free. I would encourage go to another school.
Right.
You don't belong to me. Obviously I want you to be loyal to me, but go learn someone else. If you got 4 days that you could go learn how to dance salsa, go.
Absolutely. 100%.
And,
Qué rico.
and the beautiful thing is that we come and learn here. We practice over there. That's a quote that I would get quite a bit.
Nice.
And then it just became one huge family, and then when you get invited to weddings,
right,
from people that met there, is really, really cool. And again, it was just a different time, like, again, my instructors were great people, great dancers, and they like to teach. We got along great as a group. So back then I made it a point that once a week we would go out as a group somewhere where they just played salsa that nobody knew about.
Right.
So we'll go have dinner. They played salsa. We tell them, can you put this song and that song? And then we just had to do a ruedita and then dance on our own. And then people would just come, pass out the business cards.
There you go.
See you on Tuesday.
Boom.
So that was it. It was very, very fluid. It was very nice. I was very loyal to Mystique, so I didn't really attach myself to any other club as much as they wanted me to. Because I figured, if I'm everywhere, I'm nowhere. Let me just stay one place, and I can just say I'm from here, and that's it.
Right.
So that was my game plan. That's how I developed the company. I developed the system. They were shareholders. They got paid very well. We got year bonuses.
Nice.
We We got new uniforms. There was soccer going on. There was, I remember the soccer. Everybody, we all made soccer jerseys. You know, that
Nice.
which a key thing that I did. So as we started growing, I needed a slogan, and I think I mentioned this to you a couple of days.
Ah, sí, sí, sí,
Last
sí,
time we
sí, sí,
spoke.
sí, sí, sí.
So I remember I needed a slogan because you had uno que decía dame una, another one said this, said that. So I go to my dad and I go to him, Dad, I need a slogan. And he goes, okay, tell me a little bit about the name. And bueno, the name of the school is Salsa Casino. There's a lot of uh, tradition. There's a lot of, flavor. It's a beautiful culture. I told him about the history of it that I learned. A lot of people will come to me before I even opened up Salsa Casino to ask about the, the, the history of it. So, I knew I had to learn a lot of the history to be credible, I
Claro,
believe,
claro.
right? Especially from an Ecuadorian, right?
Right,
Teaching
right.
Cubans how to do it. So
Same
I had
boat,
to be
brother. Hey,
credible,
we're in the same boat for sure, man.
right?
Tenemos,
So
tenemos que estudiar antes, for
you have
sure.
to be credible. You have to know what you're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
So I will come up and I give my dad the history, and he goes, "Okay, come back." So I remember, I think I went to the gym, played basketball. I don't remember. I come back and I go, "Oh, Pop, do you have anything for me?" And he goes, "Yeah, it's right there." So in there, and remember, the name of the school is Salsa Casino, right? So he wrote, La salsa tiene sabor, el casino tiene tradición. So I loved it. So it was coming close to Calle Ocho, our second year. Calle Ocho, what I did is I gave something to my students that I was taught by Marlena and Jerry. Personally, I did not like going to Calle Ocho because it was just too full,
Oh
too
my
many
God. No, I
people.
feel
It was
you.
just,
I feel you. Oh
right?
my
I didn't
gosh.
like it. So what they said that, before I even opened up my dance school, they invited me to go to Calle. I was like, I don't know if I want to go. No, no, no. And we started practicing, inventing terms. We made T-shirts. And I go, okay, let me see how this is going to play out. And they go, no, we're going to meet there for breakfast. So, we're having breakfast at La Esquina de Tejas, I think it was the name, on the corner
Aha.
of 8th Street and 27th or
Yes, yes,
22nd.
yes, yes, yeah.
Right there.
Absolutely.
We had breakfast there. And then we started in the morning. So as the DJs are getting set up, we would ask them to play a song or two. We would start dancing, and we worked our way
¿Qué
up
año
to the
fue eso? ¿Qué
Budweiser
año
place.
fue eso?
That was in 90, 94, 95, 94, 94, 95.
Hold on. Elba
It-
has a video recorder tape
mhm.
of a huge group of everybody in white, white and purple, Club Mystique on the back. Was
That
that
was
93, 94,
that
92,
was
95?
93. That was a comparsa. That was different. That was not
Okay.
Calle Ocho. That was una comparsa que se hizo.
Oh, okay, 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 okay.
Okay, una comparsa que se hizo for Calle Ocho, but for the parade.
Yes. Okay, okay, okay. Gotcha.
Okay. This was before any schools again. So it was us. We're wearing t-shirts and we work our way up to there. And I had a phenomenal time. And we would do this for every year. So when I opened up my dance school, a lot of the things that I did that was personable and personal with my not only with my dance team but also with my students. We were the first student that went organized to Calle Ocho. So my first year, I order canary yellow T-shirts that says Salsa Casino with the logo in the front and the
Ooh,
big logo in the back. That's how we had.
nice.
So I remember selling that. I bought the T-shirts for like $3 to $5. I would sell it for 10,
Right.
right? And I pre-sold it to. And remember, I had 168 students per hour. So think how many. I think we had like about 200 students go.
Qué
I
rico,
remember filling
brother.
a backpack with the
Golden days,
leftovers.
bro. Golden
And I go,
days.
I'm going to sell the T-shirts. But then as I'm walking, I go, people started asking for the T-shirts. So you know what? I started giving away, and I go because I figured TV. At that point, the reason why I did Canary Yellow was for two reasons: safety
And
and
standing out.
exposure.
Right. Absolutely.
So safety, nobody's going to mess with somebody who's wearing a T-shirt that you see a sea of people.
Right, 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 right.
We can find each other in the sea of millions of people, right? And TV, I wanted to be on TV.
Absolutely.
So sure enough, TV exposure was
Qué
great.
rico.
So now we're in year two, and I get the slogan. So in the front, again, the logo, the back, a big like a map, and you know what design, but it said La Salsa tiene sabor y el Casino Tradición with the logo in the middle with, again, play on words and the logo.
Yeah.
Orange. The following year, we had lime green. Again, I
Nice.
would always pick these weird colors, but every year it
Perfecto.
was just more and more and more. I think the third year I had it, I think that's when Elba, different schools started doing the same thing.
Right.
They caught on, right? And but again, we had a wonderful time with that. So I just wanted to make sure the personable part that I wanted to give into and not and be different from every school was I wanted to teach them the way I would like to be learned. I wanted the team to be personable, not necessarily personal, but personable, likable, approachable, not snobby, you know. And we were creative, and that's another thing. We're very creative with our dances, with our turns, with our choreography, and it just grew and grew and grew and never stopped. It
Did you
didn't
guys
stop.
ever do as a school either competitions or showcasing or anything like that? What how did that come in line? I don't remember the first year of Miami Congress or IHSC.
Okay,
Um,
so for that, I'm going to give you a little history before that. Before the dance schools, it's myself, Renee, Regnier. I'm pretty sure
uh,
you heard that name.
Pregnancy.
Javier. I think it was four couples, and there were always dance competitions of rueda, 100 or $500 to the winner or whatever.
Ah,
And whenever we were signed up, people would like say, "No, we're not," and they would scratch. So we had to go with fictitious names to be able to compete.
oh my
You know,
gosh. Oh
so
my
and then
god.
when they see us, like, "Oh, it's Ramani. Hey, you're not gonna," and we would win a lot. We would win a lot. We were really really good. So,
Nice.
yeah, yeah, it was very very fun. And back then there were no choreographies. But
Right.
the one thing we did practice was I would always, try to practice to a certain song. So sometimes you could just request a song. So I knew when the breaks were coming,
Right.
right? We will call it rueda, and I always try to call it in the same order.
Sure.
So
Absolutely.
then it created, just naturally like a choreography. So one of the things that we created when in competencia de rueda, actually this was before the I opened up my dance school. There was competitions, and what we did was created a rueda without calling it. So the way we did it was we called everything in ABC format, right? So
Okay.
we started
Nice.
like girls,
Right.
then it was beso,
Right.
then it was Coca-Cola, then Deo, Evelyn, and so on and so on and so on.
Nice,
And the
dude.
way we were great was after every turn we did a dame dos, una para arriba, go. Dame dos, una para arriba, go. So it was flowing,
Right.
flowing, flowing, flowing. So people, it was just something that we just stood out because we
Right.
were just quiet. Nobody, because everybody would go, dame dos, and it was like tradition. So that's where we were just looking for ways to be different,
Right.
right?
Sure.
So, when I remember now I have the dance school and we were going on what we call a little tour, a performance tour, right? And we're gonna do it at Club Mystique. That's the main thing I wanted to do it at Club Mystique, and I forgot. I think we were performing. I'm lying to you. We're gonna perform it at for the Miami Herald. Miami Herald were having a banquet, and
Okay.
they hired us to do a show. So back nowadays, how long is a show? If I were to ask you, a
Oof.
performance,
Oh my gosh. They try to keep it on the shorter side.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Dos, tres
2 minutes.
minutos máximo.
So us dummies back then would have two long songs. It was like 10 minutes,
Oh
right?
my god.
Of choreography. One song was beautiful, like the first one was just choreography, not and the second one was more. I had to be more in tune because it was mixed. It wasn't pre-done. It was everything was live. So I remember we took it on tour before we go to the Herald because
Mira
that's
pa
the one
eso.
thing that I remember. So go to places where they don't know us, and whether it was on purpose so we could get the jitters out.
Right. Of course.
Okay, so we did it at a club at South Beach. We did it at no sé qué otro lugar. The third one being at Club Mystique. And I remember at Club Mystique, all the dance schools are there. People that we know and respect are there. And the main thing when I did a choreography, I always wanted to impress two people, two groups. The one that does it, the novice one, the one that's learning, is going to see it and just say ah, right? But I also wanted to impress the one that knew how to dance, right? And
Of
this was
course.
something different. So how do we create it both ways? And again, I got really aggressive because back then everybody was really safe with the choreographies, right? They would just stay in a rueda, like I mentioned, and call it. We didn't. We had designs, we had formations, we had transitions. We were looking forward. We were going to rueda, get out of rueda. It was just, I mean, I call it beautiful. Back then it was un arroz con mango, right? But I figured if I could impress the instructors and the dancers from other schools, I did my job because I know everybody else was going to be impressed. So I remember doing that. And, normally when you finish, every people will just come to you, right? It was everybody else, people that you know, people that you don't know, da, da, da. But then when the instructors from other schools started coming in and say, wow, that was beautiful. That was
That's it,
great.
bro. Qué rico.
I wish
That's
my guy had, had him like yours, or was aggressive like you, and this and that. It was just reaffirming that, we were on the right track as far as choreography was concerned. But yeah, it was 10 minutes long back then. It was a little too long.
Oof. Oh my
That's three shows
gosh.
nowadays,
Oh my
you
God.
know.
These kids would, oh my God. No pueden,
Yeah.
brother. 10 minutos, bro,
Yeah.
eso no es fácil. Eso no es
No, and
fácil.
not only that, again, being a novice at this and not really knowing, right? Ignorance is bliss. I
Eso
was
sí,
very
también.
ignorant.
Eso sí es verdad.
So the ignorance part of me, that I thought, I believed and I felt in my core that if I go and I get invited to this Congress, I do a choreography. And then 3 months later, I get invited to another Congress, it's another choreography. And then
Right.
the other, 4 months later, it was another choreography,
Right, right,
And
right,
then
right.
at the end of the year, with like 6 choreographies, fast forward, I realized people have 2 choreographies a year and they just run with it, you know?
Absolutely.
And they do last year's choreographies on the Fridays and the new choreography on Saturday, and
Right.
so on and so forth. I'm here creating, and playing kind of ignorant,
Right,
the
right,
ignorance,
right, right,
you know.
right,
Yeah, it
right.
was fun times. It was beautiful, like I mentioned, and the transition, everything was really organic.
I love it. I love it. Okay, so then at that point, things are going so good. So I guess this
Mhm.
is where today's topic comes in, sabor y tradición y el balance entre los dos. What ended up
Right.
happening? Why stop?
So I'm a career guy, and I was kind of chicken to make this my career. I made more
Okay.
money. I mean, I was financially doing double at a point with my
Wow.
dance school than I did with my career. I'm an optician. I went to school. I went to college for it.
Mira para eso,
I'm
bro.
right,
Wow.
and I'm just doing phenomenal, blessed. But I just couldn't commit. It's like it didn't have faith in that. Right. Again, ignorance. Right. In hindsight, being 2020, forget it. It would be a different conversation today.
Wow.
So, a I get, career wise, I get an opportunity with my work, with my job, to go to New York. I'm going through a divorce, and it was pretty tough on me
Oh,
because
wow.
I'm a daddy. I had a little baby, a little girl, and I would put her to sleep every night. And when she would fall asleep, like around 10ish, 11, whatever time, that was my gym time, and I would come back home. So, the baby was like about a year and a half, about a year and a half old, and we had to have a very serious conversation, and it was a right decision to make. So we separate, and it was very difficult on me, and they offered me to go work in New York. So and they said it's going to be like 2 months, and I'm like, okay, 2 months I could run the school, and then they allowed me to come back down on weekends. I still had Mystique, but during those 2 months, I see the numbers kind of come down,
Mm.
right? And people start going, and again, I didn't, it just, in my book, it was like, I want to have a good reputation. I want people to know Salsa Casino for what it is, not for what it's turning. And it's to no fault nobody. People are
Claro.
bickering because I have 3 locations, and one manages one and the other guy manages the other, and I'm managing them. When I'm here, it's fine, but when I'm gone, it's a little tricky.
Right.
So I decide to close. I close,
Close on top.
and I'm sorry.
Closing on top, basically.
Close the top.
Right.
Good reputation. Nobody can say anything,
Right.
because if your numbers start going down for whatever reason, go, oh, he's
Right.
not doing it. So numbers are good, but not, I'm seeing things, as a
Right. Right.
director, as a
Claro,
business
claro,
owner.
claro.
So I figured, let me just close it. If anybody wants to open up their own dance schools, they can, and we leave it like that. And I had very good friends open up their own dance schools. We have great teachers from Salsa Fever. We have Eric. We have from Salsa Connection. We have Omar Caraballo.
Eric is
We have
Salsa Explosion.
Salsa Explosion was another one. We have another one, Salsa Magic, from another guy. We
Salsa
had
Magic, I
again,
remember.
we had someone open up a school in Atlanta. So it was just beautiful for them. Again, I would not stop them.
Right, 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 right,
I'm
right.
a different mindset, right? I probably would have convinced them to let's franchise and open up different ones,
Right,
but
right, right,
versus blocking anybody. That was never my intention.
right.
So, I closed the school. I will still come down every other Thursday for Mystique, and I will have different schools come and teach. So this week it was me. The following week it was you. The following week it was me again. The following week it would be Salsa Fever. The following
Right.
week it was me. I was always alternating. So I gave other schools opportunities there that they would have never had at Mystique. And it was good. It was, again, we made the best out of the time, but that's the reason why I closed the first time.
When did Mystique move from the Hilton to the Days Inn?
I want to say it
Was
was
that
in
after?
2000. Yeah. It
Okay.
was.
So we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Okay.
We're not there yet. I come back, fast forward. I'm
Right.
learning. I go to New York. I'm living in New York, and it ends up being 2 years versus 2 months, right?
Oof.
I
Wow.
will
Okay.
come down every other weekend. I will have my commitment with Mystique. I would miss a bunch of snow flurries from there and be tremendo tan. Come back down again. It was a different time once again, and obviously I would be with my daughter. That was my main commitment, to come down every other weekend. So I remember 9/11. I was in New York for that, and after nine
Oh
eleven,
wow! Really? Hold on.
yeah,
Hold wait. Wait. Let's wait. Hold on. Tell us a little
yeah.
bit about that. What? That's a big deal. Where? Like, how was that experience? That's wild.
So at that point, with the business, with my career, I was already assistant regional manager. I was basically, you could say, running the whole northeast of the U.S. with the business where I was working
Okay.
at. So I had a team of 25 people. I would train them every Tuesday, and I believe this was a Tuesday that this happened. So
Yeah. Sounds right.
the training session was scheduled for 11, and the office was in Queens. But one of the things that we needed to do was pass through Manhattan, because my boss had a meeting. I had to drop him off in downtown near the Trade Center. So we're kind of running behind schedule. We're getting dressed, and then first plane hits, and then my one of our roommates. It was four of us in the house. She's like, "Ramani, is this real?" And I take a peek, and I'm like, "I don't know. Yeah, it has to be live, because we change the channels and we see it's real."
Right.
And we're thinking it's a small airplane, like a little,
Right.
four
Right.
seater. And I go, "Wow, pobrecito." Call Miami. I call my mom, call my fiance, my girlfriend at the time. She ended up being my wife. Call, hey, I'm fine. This is going on. I don't know what's up, but I'm good. Hang up. Finish getting dressed. We're getting ready to walk out, and mind you, we have the TV on, and then we see the second airplane hit.
Oh my God, bro.
So we were like, "What?" And now we see it's a airlines. We
Right.
like, "What is this?" And I'm getting chills. And we're trying to
Yeah.
talk. We could not communicate with Miami. We couldn't communicate with anyone, none of us. So we're like, let's go to the office, right? So we're in Jersey. We're in Richfield, New Jersey, a nice house, a suburbs. So we got to cross one bridge, the George Washington Bridge.
Uh huh.
We get stopped. Nobody's allowed to cross any bridges.
Oh my God.
As we're getting in the car, footnote, we see two fighter jets go, and then we hear it. They were like
Booking it.
speed of light, booking, and then we're like, okay, listening to radio, watching TV. We ended up going to the movies just to decompress,
Oh my God.
and it was come back to reality 2 hours later. It was just a very stressful moment. Everything died, really everything. There was no business in New York. Was
Right. 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 No,
a
imagínate.
ghost town. It was like it felt eerie, like when COVID hit.
Right.
So think
Wow, I can
about
imagine.
COVID, that there's no one in the street. There's really no in New York, right? No cabs, no buses, a couple of people walking around, but it's nothing. It was
Right.
really weird. A couple of cars here and there, but it was like really, really, really weird. It was a really weird time.
Wow.
And obviously, when I came back home, and I was on the first flight, I went to three airports, and I finally got out at night back to Miami. We're here for like about 10 days, and trying to figure out what we're gonna do because the business was based out of Miami.
Right.
So then we flew back to Miami, and everybody, all of us, say we want to come back home because we're all from Miami.
Right.
So in December, I came back right after 9/11, and
That's when you
you know
stayed.
that's when I stayed.
Oh, mira va eso. Okay.
So that
Wow.
brought me back. That's what
There.
brought me back.
Wow, man. Wow. Well, I mean, that makes sense. That makes
Yeah,
sense. That could really creep you out. It still creeps me out, bro.
no, but there was no business. We tried to revamp. Nobody wanted to do business. Everybody was very tight in.
Claro.
Again, it was very weird. So we asked to come back. I come back. I still have the Mystique thing going on, right? Uh, Fast forward a year, two, and everybody is like, open up the dance school. I go, no, open up the dance school. No, no, I'm good. I like my Thursdays, and that's
Right,
it.
right, right.
But
But
I
it had
think
been 2 years.
yeah, it had been 2 years now.
Right.
Now and people were going, open up the school. We'll come and take classes from you. We'll come and take classes from you. So, and I keep on reminding, well, it's not a one man thing.
Right.
It's a team. And unless I get the right people, I'm not open.
Right.
So the one thing I needed was to find someone that was a good person, a great person, a great dancer, and a great teacher, and someone who wanted to learn. So they had to check their ego
Mm-hmm.
because, as you know, when you're in your 20s, you think you know everything,
Yeah.
right? So obviously, I had to find somebody younger than me because I have a family. I can't be doing the little things like I told you. We'll go out every Friday and
Right.
dance.
Absolutely. Eso es bien importante.
So we had to build. Even though I had I was already had a head start. I didn't have to build something from scratch. It was just add the right pieces. So I knew Marcus. We spoke, we talked. I remember he was promoting a club. I met him at there. We spoke about it. I told him the vision, and he goes, "I'm in." I go, "Perfect." We sat down, and then we started creating our team. And the one no in creating a team is that you don't hire couples, right? So that's the one thing that I did. I go, okay, I'm gonna look for misfits, people that are not accepted in their own dance schools because they're not wanted, right? And I don't mind if they're couples. So I found a person here. The couple can hang out, even though I knew eventually they're gonna end up coming in. So it was like, okay, first we're gonna start off with myself and Marcus and two girls. Then we added another couple, and then another couple, and so on and so forth. And the team that's the team that you basically got to learn or met,
Right.
right? Well, you had Adele, you had a, a Marcus, you had a, what's his, a Daniel. Again, you had all these key people that like very personable, very happy, very fun,
Right.
but they understood, right?
Absolutely.
It was a little, there was clashing of egos here and there, but how that you
Normal.
learn how to manage that, right?
Right.
And that comes with the territory when you have. I like to hang around alphas.
Absolutely.
That's me.
Absolutely.
That's not everybody knows how to deal with that,
Right.
right? I like leaders. I like to check the leaders, have them learn how to follow, so they can become better leaders at a later date,
Hold
right?
on. Timestamp 54:30. Yeah, we're clipping that for sure. These people got to learn some stuff right here. That's what's up. I like that. That's it. That's
So,
it. Say
so
actually, do me a favor, bro. Say that for me one more time, bro, so everybody can hear loud and clear. One more
yeah,
time. You like first of all,
and
you're a leader of leaders. First of all,
yeah.
and the idea is for what now? So that the players are doing what?
The leaders need to learn how to follow, right? So they can become better leaders
That's
later
it.
on.
Así es.
So it was that was a little difficult. It was tricky, but it was fun, right? For me, at least it was.
Right, right,
And then how to manage egos and this and that, then manage relationships, and then give him fatherly advice or older brotherly advice,
right, right.
right? I'm in my late 30s. Everybody's in their 20s, so now I got to work out more to stay in shape,
Bro,
in
bro,
comparison.
estamos ahí. Yeah,
You
now
know,
now you're speaking. You're like, I'm literally exactly with the space that whatever time this is. What year is this? What year is
this
this?
is already 2000 and the early 2000 because I'm reopening that Salsa Casino again, right?
This is where I'm at now. What you're saying right
So
now in your life is where this is my
so
present now.
it was these were I mean it was fun. I loved it because whenever I would let them argue.
Yeah, oh,
I
for
wasn't gonna
sure.
stop them anymore, and
Vamos a
go
ver lo
at
que
it.
podemos aprender aquí. A ver,
Yeah, and then you
a
learn,
ver.
okay, you're not, and I would say you're not wrong, and you're not wrong. Now
Right.
let's think about it. It could be over a choreography, over a turn. Sometimes it's because of tardiness.
Yeah.
In one of the choreographies that we did in the salsa congress, I wasn't scheduled to dance because I was doing my exit,
Mm,
right? And Marcus was a lead choreographer, but I would always give him, this is what I want, this is how I want it. He would come with the songs, and I would come with the design. I would design choreographies by formations, and he would just put it all together. And if I would prefer this song, or right here we need this, right that. I mean, he was really, really. It got to a point that we were like very, very in sync, if that makes any sense.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I
Absolutely.
wasn't. I wasn't. I knew the choreography, but I wasn't scheduled to do it. And then this guy kept on being late, kept on being late. I'm not gonna throw him under the bus. And I told him, "You're late for our final practice before we go to the congress. You're not gonna dance, and I'm gonna dance in your place." Sure enough, he was late. So I had to dance, and that was a learning
That was
experience.
Marcus.
No, Marcus danced. Marcus was
Oh,
Marcus.
okay. Era otro.
Yeah, Marcus. No, era otro, era otro.
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So, eh, I remember being a moment that, if you weren't dancing, you still had to rehearse and practice with the team, like if you're performing, just in case
Absolutely.
anything happened. Uh, you had to go through, again, back then, it's not as organized as it is now, right? But tech rehearsals, everybody had to be there, whether you were performing or not.
Hmm.
Uh, and again, we were going through our little things, but it was a beautiful time. It was I'm hoping they learned something, from me. In regards to life, that balance, because it's sometimes we got to check our egos at the door in order to
Yeah.
get better,
I mean,
right? And one of the things that I did, I had to check my ego because, again, I'm an alpha in a way, and choreography wise, the one thing that you mentioned, the international hustle salsa competition.
hmm,
They would have this thing yearly, and they wanted all the schools to perform.
right.
There was only one person that they could call to bring all the schools together and perform. Blessed that it was me.
Yeah.
So I would create the choreography, but what I would do is I would have everybody that was a key member from every school chime in 2 cents. What turn do you think would be good here?
Right.
Okay. What do you think we could do now? And I would say, I need a sombrero type turn for this particular pocket
Right.
before we go into a transition.
Right.
So I would always allow that. And again, I can say, like, no, everybody brought in great ideas, and every year you would get more people then it became a point that people wanting to be part of it.
Right. Right. Right.
The
Absolutely.
first year we had a
Después de
drama
todo trabajo,
school.
después de todos los
Yeah,
años de. Right.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So then, towards the end, it was like, yeah, I want to be part of it. And then, well, now you got to perform, and let me see you. Okay, I want this guy and this girl and this girl from your school. Only you're one couple from this school. I want three couples, and it became that later on. Why? Because you elevate, and you start elevating, and
Right.
it becomes so much better, right?
Absolutely.
And again, it was not only their dancing skills, but their people skills had a lot to do with it. Because you could
Absolutely.
be a great dancer, and if you're not a good listener, we're not gonna get far. We're gonna get stuck.
Absolutely.
So you were not going to be part of it.
Absolutely.
So that was a time of that. It was it was great. It was a beautiful time, like I mentioned,
I hear you,
and
man. I hear you. And that's what I always admired about. I guess I feel like not that I guess there's just in general there's just more competition, so there's more awareness.
Hmm.
It's easy to compare versus like you're saying, China's this organic. None of us really know what we're doing. We're here just to have a good time, you know,
Right.
and we're challenging ourselves naturally, which is great, which is great.
Yeah.
And I felt that first coming in as a student, it was definitely welcoming, and we're definitely doing as best as we can to
Well, yeah.
maintain that, to not.
During that time when you came around, there was a pocket in the beginning where it was so competitive that, and again, it wasn't only the instructions, but it was the promotion of clubs. So, for example, School A was teaching in the Grove, and School B would teach a different night in the club across the street. School A would get upset.
Right,
They would call me, "Do you believe this guy?" And I go, "Dude, it's a different night."
right,
No, but still, I'm in the Grove and blah blah blah. And I go, "It's
right,
a
right, right,
different
right,
night."
right,
No, you see what I'm, and they will go and invade, technically invade,
right.
and sweet talk the owners. This is who I am, then transfer, and then they had Saturdays, and it was just a big,
That's when
crazy, very
that was
competitive. They were too
shortly
competitive.
after I started,
That was
and
actually before you started. This is like when I started, right? When I was,
oh, okay,
and
okay,
then when you came around, yeah, we already had congresses,
right,
right? So the competitive nature was different, which I encourage you be competitive. There's nothing wrong with that.
right,
But
right,
it
right,
was
right,
different because now we had, I remember Renee and I was living in New York, and we promote the first party that basically we started having schools and other teams perform. So the first three that he did was co-promoting it with me. I'm living in New York and I'm calling people and doing what I need. I will
nice.
come down on Thursday and do the same thing, whatever. So it was a great transitional time because Renee has a beautiful, a he's a beautiful human being inside, and he was, again, we're developing as we go. We didn't have no clue how to
Right,
do
right,
this,
right,
and it just evolved great because he was the right person for that, if that makes any sense, for the congresses. And I remember Congress number one that I was invited to teach. I was really worried. And this is a funny story because I remember having Bianca, my daughter, in a stroller. I walk in, I go, let me see how this guy teaches his class. And it was,
quién,
I'll tell you right now his name. Was it, oh my God, it could be Eddie Torres, maybe. And I look and I go, wait a second. I do that. Oh, forget it. I got this. And it just took me from being afraid to not getting cocky, but very, very, very confident in what I brought to the table. And I knew my personality was just going to
Eddie
make it great.
Torres enseñando mambo.
Mambo.
Yeah,
But again, it wasn't my thing, but I
right,
saw like, okay, I'm in.
right,
So
right, right.
then,
Nada,
you
nada,
know,
nada del otro mundo. Right, it's still
nothing,
salsa at the
again,
end of
I
the day.
go, I
Yeah,
got this. So
right.
then the following year, I remember International Hustle Salsa competition, the first one I went to, or the second one, they invite me to perform and to teach. And I actually it was at the Hilton by the airport. And they gave me the Club Mystique room.
Yeah,
I had so many people. I had to get salsa lover instructors to teach here. And I was telling everybody, okay, because I was trying to figure out what, they gave me, and I had all levels.
right. Oh,
It was like, all right, don't worry. I remember Carlos Telles, who has Salsa Heat Wave. I go, do me a favor. You're going to teach this level. I'm going to teach this level. I wasn't prepared to have that multitude of people.
right,
And
right.
everybody had such a wonderful time
Nice.
that, again, we checked egos at the door. We all helped each other. We already
Right,
we went through that. And it was a camaraderie time. Like, I look at it that way. People see it different, right?
right,
But some people may have said, "Oh, I needed other instructor because I
right,
yeah, I kind of needed it because I had too many people from different levels, and I didn't want to let anybody down."
right,
You know. Now, when you travel, I'll say I'll have an intermediate level, and I get beginners. I go, "Oh, I got to figure this one out," and I'll just make up a turn or teach something that a beginner level can learn,
could work.
and
Right,
the advanced level can have fun with,
right.
right? So it just evolves into that, like I mentioned. but it was a time that you bring the traditional teaching and you transition into okay, how we can make it into a different level. It was just
Sure.
really, really cool.
Sure. No, amazing, bro. Amazing. So now when we're talking about you're on your way out or you're exiting now for what seems to be the second time,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah, the second
Um,
time was it was a little different. Like now we have to have that work life balance.
right.
I have my career, I'm at a certain level. I have a family, I have a newborn,
Right.
Anthony's baby. We go through the pregnancy through it, right? And then we have
Right.
a
Wow.
baby, and now how we transition. And I realized, and it was tough on my ex-wife at the time, right? And I commend her for her because she would come. The baby was a week old, or yeah, 1 month old. He was already coming to the classes,
Wow.
and I remember him, growing in the dance studio for as long as that I had it, traveling with the two kids to salsa congresses and have them go and partake and watch. So that transition, it became a little long for me because now, like remember I mentioned that you're going through now that it's a workout and you have to,
Right.
I'm flirting with 40. So my exit strategy was when I turned 40, I'm out. So, due to a combination of things at that point, I merged with Henry, right? Thinking it's either going to go one or two ways. It's either really going to blow up,
Right.
right? Or it's going to stay stagnant. It's not going to come down, but it's just going to stay stagnant. And if it stays stagnant, I'm out.
Right.
Now I got to go. It is what it is. It didn't really go. And the one thing I can, if I can say something, is that whenever you go into partnership, even amongst friends, because we're friends, right? Because he was one of my instructors. He was a manager at the Coral Gables location back
Ah,
in the day.
okay. Mira
Okay,
eso.
so he has a system, and he's a phenomenal, one of the best performers in the world,
Yeah.
number one CD DVD seller in the world in
Yep.
regards to dance. Uh, but he couldn't take care of home when he was traveling. So okay, I got to school. So again, we don't discuss the little things, right? We left it understood, and that didn't translate correctly.
Mm,
Because if we discussed that, we know we would have. I know we would have created a system that would have worked for both and grow. We left it understood. So I wanted to do one way, he wanted, and again, those things happen, and it's normal. I mean, we never clashed, but it
right.
was just okay. It was just all right. It stagnated. So it was my exit strategy at that point. I told him, listen, I'm already 40. These are long days. I got to wake up at 5 to prep the baby, put him next to mom, go to the
Yep.
gym, go to the work, leave work, prep the dance studio, teach, then stay for rehearsals. Go to two locations. It just became work.
Right.
You know,
How old was
so
he
there
at the
was
time?
how old was who?
How old was Henry at the time when you turned 40?
Well, I'm the oldest one of everybody. I want to say he's in his mid 30s.
Now?
Then, so I
Then
was
mid
flirting
30s.
with
Right. You're
40.
40. Okay. Right.
So he was flirting with 35, mid 30s.
Yeah.
And so it was just different, and again, we transitioned out, right? I continued doing Mystiques for another, I think I want to say another year, and I transitions out, and it just became that. But when I had the baby or when I was married, and when I reopened the dance school the second time, I really had to figure out how to balance a career versus just a job, what I considered a job back then. Because at first I was an optician.
Hmm.
Now I'm a director of a or a sales manager at a company. I have a
Okay.
team. I have no responsibilities.
And this is
There's no
a different company completely.
different company complete. I
Yeah.
left the staff. I left the optical when in 99, around that time, 2000 and actually the year before I go to New York, I leave the optical because it I just needed more. The I just
Sure.
wanted to level up, right?
Sure.
And ironically, one of our students hires us for a gig, and I go, "Well, all right, 500 bucks," and he goes, "No, no, Ramani, this is business. Don't charge me. I'm gonna have you talk to so and so. You're charging the company, so whatever you want to charge, you charge." This is in 98, 99, 98. So I charge him well. Really, I just say, F it, if he says
Right.
it, I'm going crazy. And I went crazy. Even today, in today's standard, it's a decent deal,
Nice.
right? So I went crazy, and we get there, and I see thousands of people. So I go, and we do it, and everybody was just loved it. And they go, I asked him, what do you do, And he told me what he did, with the type of business that they own. It was a conference,
Uh-huh.
and they were the main sponsors, and da 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 da. So I interviewed, again, business, not personal. I interviewed with a department head, and I got hired.
Nice,
And
bro. Just like that. Wow.
I'm doing that. Yeah, I'm doing
Mira
that. So
eso.
the balance, I had to be responsible with my career, for my family, and for myself, and for the growth that I wanted. But I also had to. I was a leader over here, where I'm an alpha,
Right.
right? Where I have a bunch. Because when you deal with alpha mentality, if you slack, they're gonna call you out on it,
Oh, 100%.
which I
100%.
love. So
Yeah.
they keep you in check. If so, so I can call you out because but they can call me out, and I always left that open,
Right.
right? And so I reported to them in a way, right? I wanted to make sure that my team knew who number one is, and there's a reason why I was number one, even
Right.
down to the private classes. People kind of want a private class. Okay, you could get a regular instructor. It's going to be $35.
Right.
If you get a Marcus, it's 45 or 50. And they go, no, but I want you. And I go, no, I'm 100.
Right.
But I recommend you get, no, 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 I want, it's going to cost you 100. All right. You know,
Right.
so it was just leveling up. The main guy was this, and a lot of people. Again, I would prefer.
Right. Of
Again, I
course. To
didn't.
pass it off your
You know,
time. Of course.
it was my time. I had my baby. But if you're gonna pay me, it's gonna be worth it.
Right. 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 Right.
So it became just that. It wasn't me being arrogant. It wasn't me thinking I was better, even though inside as you are, and every instructor, we're kind of like athletes. You got to feel that you're the best
Right.
at what you do,
Absolutely.
right?
No, no hay otra
You know,
manera.
if you don't feel that way, or you're just as good, then you're not there anymore. You just got to pass on the torch. You know,
Yeah.
being
Absolutely.
realistic. But as far as teaching, hey, listen. So we went through that transition, and that balance was very important. I needed to balance family. I couldn't go to the clubs every weekend,
Claro.
right?
Right.
But I could go every other weekend, go with the wife, go there, sometimes we were just listening to the radio, and we knew the DJ that was at a certain club, and we were around the area, we'd go to that club, and they would announce us on the radio. And to me, that was free marketing.
Right.
I used
Absolutely.
it as much as I could. I don't know. Now it's different times, but back then the radio was very, very powerful.
Right.
So I used that as a lot of um interchangeables for performances, for shows,
Sure.
for for gigs. Okay, it's going to cost you this amount, which wasn't a lot, so I can give the instructors a little bit for me. But I also wanted ads on the radio.
Right.
So not only announcing that I'm going to be at a certain club or a certain place, but I also wanted ads, promoting my dance school,
Right.
certain nights. So we did a lot of that. So
Right.
that was cross promotion that we created a lot back then. Yeah, yeah. So
So I guess ultimately, because we've already, imagínate, brother, ya estamos más de una hora, como te
yeah,
dijiste.
yeah.
How would you say, as far as for, because we've spoken about it, at least we've touched it on various occasions in different instances, about
Mhm.
balancing, which is I mean, for those of you that don't know, our guests always pick the topic that they're passionate about, and Ramani picks Sabor y Tradición fuera for it being his slogan for his studio. But ultimately, the concept of keeping things juicy, alive, full of life, fun, while at the same time having a balance in your life with your tradition, your rules, your structure, things that are important, more maybe not more important, but more rooted is probably a better way to say that because I think it's extremely important also to have fun as well. It's not less
Mhm.
important. It's just different kind of important. So I guess in closing thoughts, what would you say if you were to pass this on, this concept or this idea? When do you know you're going too far in one direction, or I can even say for myself sometimes I'm maybe even too rooted sometimes that I'm not even I actually went to a conference about a week and a
Mhm.
half ago. I came from Texas, and one of them, one of the speakers, which is what I took away, said that celebration is gratitude in action, and I thought that was huge for me because I'm
Mhm.
not really one to celebrate. Yo estoy ahí fajado siempre, just getting work done, pa'lante, 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 and I'm big on gratitude. So for me to hear that celebration is gratitude in action, that was definitely like, okay, dang, I really need to do this. I really need to do this more often.
Right.
So when would you say that you're going too far in one way, too far in one way, and when's a good way to know or to at least feel that you're in the sweet spot? I guess you could say. I know that's a heavier question, but
Right. No, 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 but it's good. It's good. I love the this. This is the part, where it's real life, right? This is it.
right,
So I turn 54 next in a week and a half. Okay.
54.
54. So
No, amazing,
so
brother. Dude,
yeah,
bro,
yeah.
bro, you're 41.
I
Did
appreciate that. If the COVID did the whites here really
it?
bad,
Did it? Is that what happened?
it would have been a nice salt and pepper. I would have gotten away with 47, but I feel great, right? I'm extremely
Amen.
blessed, and that balance, right? That sweet spot. The one thing I can tell you is that one of the reasons why I exited out, number one, was that it started becoming work,
Okay.
right? And there's a saying, you're never going to work a day in your life if you do something that you love,
Right.
correct? So I love to dance. I love to perform. I love to teach. And I still teach today. I run, like I mentioned, I run a team in 3 campuses in the admissions department, and I'm constantly teaching every day. I'm coaching up. I'm giving metaphors. I'm getting creative. That's my sweet spot, right? So with life and with dancing and everything, yeah, shoot for the stars, shoot for the heavens, shoot for outer space, right? But enjoy the ride. When you do let me ask you, have you choreographed any shows?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So during the choreography, that's when all your juices are flowing,
Right.
and you get up for that, right? You're like, I would create it. I literally, and I'm going to show you one day, I would make boxes in a sheet, and this is the opening formation.
Right.
This is a deck, and the formation where X's were guys and zeros were the girls,
Right.
and it was just formations. That's all I had. And then I would listen to music and go on from there. And I remember showing one of my guys, I go, okay, we're gonna do this, and then we're gonna do this. These are the turns, and then and he goes, bro, this looks like a football place. It's like
Yeah.
120 hours, you
Right.
know.
Right.
Well, I'm a sports nut, and that's the preparation of it,
Right.
right? So you're getting excited, right? I saw you light up when I mentioned have you choreographed before.
Right.
So that part is exciting. But at the end of the choreography, now you can't wait to perform it,
Right.
right? And if you perform it for your true self versus competing or comparing yourself with something else or someone else, you're always going to be happy. Because if I go back with all the knowledge that I have, with the best dancers that I can find, and create a choreography to compete, I'm going to win a lot, But I know the ones that I'm thinking to compete, I'm gonna fall very, very, very short. But again, because that's my vision.
Right.
So I'm not gonna set myself up for failure, right? So I do the best that I can, being dictated by the song, because the song is gonna dictate what your creative juices are bringing,
Right.
right? You perform it, and the people are gonna enjoy what you performed, and then come the accolades.
Right.
But you have to enjoy that ride. Like I can tell you, as an instructor, when I had my dance school, those are one of the happiest times of my life, right? Even the work part was happy because yeah, there were times I was like the office like, oh man, gotta go to the dance school and set up.
Right.
I could have called one of the guys and said, hey, listen, I'm gonna give you an increase. I need you to go set up. No, that was my responsibility.
Right.
I needed to lead by example, right? And we're gonna teach this way. We're gonna tuck in our shirts. We're not gonna leave it outside. We're gonna be pressed. We're gonna smell well. We're not gonna be sloppy. Girls, you're gonna have a ponytail. You're gonna have light makeup. And you're not gonna look like if you're going to a club, but you're not gonna look like if you just rolled out of bed either.
Right.
So it was all a balance, right? But I had to lead that balance.
Right.
But I also had a great time. Because if I didn't have a great time as I was doing it, I'm not going to attract people to come back again.
Right. Absolutely.
So it becomes also like if you go to a nice restaurant and that server is not the best, the odds of you coming back are
Oh
very
yeah.
slim to none.
Right.
Food can be phenomenal, but if the service isn't up to par,
Right.
heck, the service can be up to par and the food okay, you're going to come back.
Right. 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 Right.
Right? So it all falls down to that, to your attitude. And that's something that I learned recently. Your attitude dictates your behavior.
Right.
So you're a person that has a positive outlook, a positive attitude. You're going to enjoy the ride as you balance it out, right? Like I wanted to really give you an hour, 2 hours, three. We could be all night if you want,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
I couldn't do that the other days because of other commitments that will come out of left field, right? And I can't be rushed. I don't, because I'm not gonna give you what you deserve, or at least what I want to give you. Maybe
Right. Right.
again,
Right. 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 And
that's a
it's much
conversation,
appreciated. And it's much appreciated for
you
sure.
know, because you deserve that, right? So I want to give you what you deserve, which is the best. Like Alain, great friend. My nickname to him is Silk, right? Because he's just smooth the way he dances.
Smooth for sure. For sure.
You know, again, it's just you interview good people, the right people, and you want them to give you as much as they can. So I'm trying to, the main focus here was that balance that you mentioned, right? Right now you're at this age that you're not there here, you're not down here, so now you're starting to have to work a little bit more
We
for
are.
things that used to come natural for you, right? But part of it is because you have this thought process. The older we get, there's a thought process,
Right.
there's responsibilities, there's knowledge that you already have that you didn't have before. So
Right.
that
A
ignorance,
wisdom from the things that we messed up on. Right.
100%.
Right.
I have a saying: we don't win and lose, we win and learn.
Yes.
Right?
One of my
You
favorites.
learn from, if you're not victorious, you're learning,
Right.
and you try not to do that again, or you learn from it, and hopefully that'll bring you a victory in anything.
Right.
So it's very key that people understand that when whatever you do in life, you want to have fun with it, right? But you also want to do it at your best of your abilities. God gives us a gift. I have a gift. You have a gift. The people, the audience, they have a gift, a God given gift, right? And what are you going to do with that gift? That's on you,
Right.
right?
So
So,
so mix between
exactly.
working as hard as best as you can.
Mhm.
I guess that would be your tradición while having a good time.
Listen, el sabor is that flavor, that feel. Like I can teach. I mean, it all comes back down to basics. Like when you're teaching how to dance, it's 1, 2, 3,
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Right.
But people feel music differently,
Right.
whether you're a dancer
Absolutely.
or not.
Right.
We feel it, right? You and I can feel something very similar, and there's areas where you might veer off if we really were to analyze it, and there's other things that I might hear,
Right.
right? So that's where the sabor falls into place. That's where you see there's moments when you feel that, people just, that do that shimmy, and it's a feel. That's a sabor, right?
Right. Right. Right.
La
Right.
maldad, I will call it maldad at times in choreography. You have to be like, be aggressive with it,
Right.
right? Let it come to you, but you got to be aggressive with it. It's a very beautiful flow. So that happens to me. And again, with dance, with salsa, you'll be amazed how many metaphors I bring from dancing into my career,
Nice.
and how much of the career I will bring into teaching, right? I would ask people like, "What do you do for a living?" "Oh, I'm in accounting." "All right, you're analytic. I
Right.
got to teach you this way,
Right. Absolutely.
right? What do you do for a living?" "Oh, I sales." "All right, you're more. You can go with the flow. You're more open to
Right. Right. Right.
different stuff. You need to have a structure, but you're open for other stuff. You
Right.
know, I'm an artist. I like to paint. Okay, you're all
Right.
over the place. So let's
Right.
just have fun with it. I
Right. Right.
could
Right.
push you. I could push that person into the spot that they need to be,
Right.
and they're not going to get upset. I
Right.
push the accountant. They're probably
Yeah.
pushing me back,
Exacto.
right?
Yeah. You're
So
absolutely right. You hit that on the absolutely. Yeah.
yeah,
I've definitely
it's
found that to
learning
be the same as well.
100%. So it's learning your audience, learning your instructor. But again, if you're an instructor, if you're a teacher, if you're a performer, if they're going to feed off of you, if you're happy teaching, they're going to be happy learning.
Right.
You know, if and your instructors, if you're the leader of the team, they're going to see that in you, and they're going to mimic that.
Right.
If you're an instructor of a team, maybe you're the leader of all the instructors without realizing you're the leader. You have that. Again, we don't know. And then you're going to start seeing people. A lot of people want to gravitate to you. That's because you're a leader,
Right.
and you fall, and you have all those things fall into place. Like, for example, I remember the first time I met you, at Mystique. You came in, you were very courteous. You came by, you said hello. I think you introduced yourself too, right? Eh, I remember then you finding your trademark. We know your trademark, right? When you would go out, you would wear your hat,
Right.
right? That was your thing. You didn't care.
Right.
You didn't care you were the only one.
Yeah.
That was you,
That's me. Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Absolutely.
You know,
Absolutely.
we all have something that stands out. All of us,
Right.
right? And that's the beauty of this industry, that I would have an architect hanging out with an attorney and with an air conditioning guy and a maintenance
Yep.
manager, all together to have some cafecito somewhere, all united within the school. You had a housewife, you had a person that worked at the mall, and a staffing manager, whatever, an HR manager, hanging out together because something drew them together, which in this case was,
El baile.
casino dancing.
Absolutely.
100%.
That's one thing that I noticed, bro. At the place, at the studio, man. It's just like it's an incredible mix of people that walk from all different walks of life, or at least different scenarios, and they're all coming for one reason, and that's just what brings everybody together. And it's wild. It's
It's
wild.
crazy, and I never thought that people from at different economic, financial, social levels
Right.
can hang out
Yeah. Yeah.
until I
Oh my
was
gosh.
introduced to this. Heck, I was part of this.
Right.
Like
Exactly.
learning,
Right. And then if you take
and
it
I'm
back at
hanging out
all.
with this guy. It's all full circle. I'm part of this.
Yep.
I'm part of them. So that's why, when I created my system, again, my system is very, very different than I'm pretty sure than the system that you ran,
Right.
right? That Salsa Lovers ran. It's very, I know we have our similarities,
Of course.
but we also have a lot of differences, and I stay true to that. I always had to have two people in there, a
Right.
male and female if possible. All the girls had to learn how to dance like male. All the men had to learn how to dance like a female, or now they call it lead and a follower.
Right.
How to back lead, how to again terminology,
Right.
right? Different conversation for a different day. But it holds true to wanting to you know. I guess the best way to put it is that when I had my dance school, even though I'm very blessed now that I can just be me, because now I'm just me. But when you're growing in
Yeah,
again,
tiene
you're
que
probably
caminar
going
una
through that
línea.
now.
No, imagínate.
Right
Trust
now,
me.
you're going through that, right? That you're this guy, but you have to conduct yourself in a certain level so people don't get confused because people can get confused.
Yes.
I'm at a level where I can just be me, right? And I can also say, don't confuse your nicest for weakness because
Right.
I'm very quick,
Right.
to do what I need to do,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And so we all go evolutionizing. We become an evolution because times are different, because we grow up, we experience and this and that. But we always have to come back to that traditional part, right?
Yes.
The basics. We always have to come back to the basics. It doesn't matter what industry you're doing in music. It could be dancing. It could be what I do for my career, what you do for your career. We kind of get a little too cute for ourselves. We have to come back to football. We just want to lay down the hit versus you know tackling. We
Right.
want to have that one-handed grab instead of really focusing on the ball and bringing the ball in.
Right.
Little things. It always
Right.
comes back to the traditional stuff, the basics.
Whether we wanted to or not, life ends up making it happen that way, so that we realize that one
It
one way or
reminds you.
another. That's
A
where
reminder.
the tradicion comes slapping us in the face real quick,
Yeah,
for
one
sure.
hundred percent. It's in teaching and dancing. It's in performing. It's on social dancing. I mean, I can tell you there were moments that I've been social dancing at a congress with a phenomenal dancer, and I got to think, okay, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, because the song and we're going somewhere I haven't been there before. Because when you're dancing with certain people, they allow you to get creative live, right? Your creative juices start flowing. But when my creative juices start flowing, I gotta check and go 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7,
Right.
1, 2, 3. Make sure I don't go off, you
Yeah.
know, or something you're doing the shines. You get too
we can have
creative.
a we
Wait,
can
what
have a
was it?
lot of sabor. Sabor is pouring out of our is oozing out of our
Yes,
pores.
yeah, 100%, one
Yeah,
hundred percent. So that's
for
where the
sure.
balance is. And that's the trajectory has been, at least for me, right? I can't speak for anybody else, but I know there's a lot of similarities with a lot of us,
A hundred
right?
percent, man.
And it just and there's a lot of people out there that that have tried to get to a certain level and they haven't, and that's it's okay. I don't know, different reasons why.
Right, right, right.
It could be
Absolutely.
a personal reason, it could be the opportunity, it could be the timing. You know, it could be a number of things. But I was very, very blessed to be at it in the very, very beginning when there was nothing, and be part of it to where okay, I see where it's at now. Enjoy it. Interact with global performers, and some of them know who I am. Some of them don't. It's all good. I enjoy them, right? But it's nice when they get, like you mentioned, you get the accolades and they say, "Wow, you
Right,
know who
right.
this guy is." Like I remember the first time I felt that was at that Rueda Congress. Bianca was this was in 98, 97,
Nice.
and I'm teaching an Oriental person a private class. So we find a corner, I'm giving a class, and I go, okay, tell me what you know. So he goes, I know how to. Okay, I'm gonna teach you terms that I've invented. So in one of them, I teach him a sabor,
Right.
and he goes, you taught a sabor? Yeah, yeah, and I give him a syllabus, and I put a star in my syllabus. You would have stars next to the terms that I would
Right.
invented. And he goes, "Oh my God, do you mind if I take a picture with you?" And I go, "No, not at all. Okay, I'll be right back." So back then, it's not like there's cell phones. We didn't have cell phones back
Right,
then,
right,
right?
right.
The guy goes one dude. I go, no, I gotta wait. I have my daughter. I drafted her to hang out with me for the.
Oh my gosh.
The guy comes back with 7 people just to take pictures because the terms that they were learning in Japan,
Mira para eso,
in
brother.
Japonés, in Japan, we're at the level where they were learning Ponle Sabor, they had learned Kentucky, they had learned Enchufla con Cadeneta, they were learning that. They hadn't learned that one yet. I taught them what they're going to get into now. They were using the syllabus pretty much word order,
Mira para
in word
eso,
for
brother.
word and in the order of that mine was, which is really, really cool. So
Wow,
that,
man.
yeah,
That's
that
amazing,
was,
bro. Ojalá que that I'll be able to, that we as an organization now be able to make the same impact, bro, because that's absolutely amazing, man. Japón, bro.
Japan.
That's wild. That's
I
wild,
did a
bro.
double take and I go, wait, and I wish and I didn't have a camera on me,
Right.
like, man, I wish I was taking pictures. I go, please send it. And back then, I don't even know if they sent me the picture or not. I don't remember. But it was just like again, we're growing, we're evolving, right, with a Cuban tradition. Now,
Right.
remember, now let's dissect that traditional part. It's a Cuban tradition that has made its way out due to the reason, in part due to the things that they're going through and they've been gone
Right.
through. People were just teaching it here, showing it to the family, and then I was fortunate enough to learn, and it became a craze. I remember Channel 7 coming to Mystique for 4 years in a row, saying, "This is the new lambada," and I'm like, "Lambada was last year, and you were here last year, and now this is your fourth year in a row." We you name it, they will come and take a class and be there, recording, and it was
Right.
always something new. But it was like 4 or 5 years in a row that they would come and do a piece.
Algo nuevo. Right. 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 Right.
I don't know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember there was the when the Martins were in the World Series against New York, against the Yankees,
96.
'96, and I remember, and I had my dance school, so they're putting what's better, the beaches or that? And they're comparing New York and Miami.
Uh-huh.
And one of the clips is me dancing at Calle Ocho,
Nice.
and then they had a clip of their festival, the Puerto Rican festival over there in New
Right. Right.
York.
Right. New York.
Which is wonderful, and you see that, like, wow, that's pretty cool, But
Nice.
yeah, the traditional part, I have to really, thank the Cuban community. I always said I'm Ecuadorian, but I'm Cubanized. So
Right.
getting here in '83, right, maybe a couple of months or a year later for the Mariel boat lift, my best friend being Marielita, and learning the history and a beautiful, beautiful, rich history that they have over there, and how Casino was born, and who was like back then the top dog calling a rueda at a casino deportivo was someone named or somebody called El Oso.
Eso
So when
es
you
uno de los fundadores, ¿no?
he was a guy.
Right.
Everybody that I would ask, everybody I would talk about it. Oh, yo bailaba con el oso. Yo
El
bailaba con
oso.
el
Sí, sí. I know the name too. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
right? So I'm like, okay, half of these people are lying to me because not everybody danced with him.
Right, right, right.
The other half probably did dance with him, right? They probably hung out with him. They probably danced a rueda, but they didn't perform with him, right? You know
Right.
what I mean?
Of
It was,
course.
but he was a legend. So that was my goal. I want to be the legend in calling a rueda.
Nice.
Right. That was the guy that I always wanted to be. Everything was just. I honestly can tell you, and I never really said this to anyone. Everything else that I've done in the salsa has just been icing on the cake. Opening up a dance school, that was never planned. It was just, it just happened. Right. I was blessed. I was organized. I'm likable. I'm kind of a goofball. I don't have a big ego. But I'm a leader. Again, I'm very complex, right? I'm genuine, I want to say, and people really appreciated that, right? Uh, it was a beautiful time, and everything had been in regards to that an icing on the cake, because I just wanted to be able to dance casino good enough not to get kicked out.
Right. Eso,
And then I
eso era
wanted,
la meta.
That was the goal.
Right.
I want again the little rueda with this one guy that was a jerk. That if anybody messed up, he would grab and and he never left because of me. That was the main goal. And
Right.
then the real goal was, okay, I want to be a rueda caller that everybody wants to be in my rueda. You know
Right.
that to this day I can call it with anybody. Give me two songs to warm up
Nice.
and bring them on. I'll take. It's different.
Right.
I'll, again, it's just a feel. That's where the sabor falls into. It's if you feel that, right? You're doing traditional terms,
Right.
but when are you going to call it? And I
Right.
think that's where the sabor tradición came in, right? When is the right time to call sombrero? You know, or the crazy turns in the beginning, at the end, in the middle.
Right.
Let the song take you through that,
Right.
right? Let the dancers allow you to do what are we going to do?
Right.
Are we going to go simple stuff and go fast? Are we going to go crazy and go medium speed? Are we going to mix it up with los puentes and this
Right.
turn? Lleva al cielo. Can they do it? Am I going to lose anybody?
Yeah. Am I
Anybody
gonna
going to
lose
have
anybody?
a cardio or a concussion afterwards?
Right.
And you go through that.
Yeah.
But then you fall into the balancing of life, right? How do you balance that? Come home and have your forget work, have your significant other accept what you do. That's another tricky part,
Yeah.
right?
And
You
that's
got
not
to,
easy first. And that's not easy. Eso
like
es difícil de entender también.
not everybody can get that,
Right.
right? And we're talking a little bit off camera. When you're with the right person, they get it, right? Because you're gonna be wanted to dance with, and they're
Right.
gonna pull you away. And out of 10 songs that you might only want to dance five, you might only dance one or two with your significant other,
Right.
and the other seven with other people. And you do it because you love it. But they love you're making their day. You probably made their week,
Right.
you know. And your significant other knows that, and she understands that, and she enjoys it with you too.
Right.
Something that sometimes my fiance brings people, boy, baila con ellos. Like, I don't want to dance,
Yeah.
and
Right. Yeah. For real.
this song, are you sure?
Yeah. Right. No,
And
I was just gonna say that. Oye, pero ni me gusta esta canción.
yeah,
Yeah.
like now I remember again when I was learning, if it was salsa, I was dancing. Then it becomes okay. These good songs, I'm gonna dance. Now it's like I don't know about this song.
Right. Right.
I
Yeah.
really want to feel.
You're
It doesn't
choosing your
have to be
battles for
fast.
sure.
It has to be there's something I want to. I feel like dancing, and there'll be nights that we don't go dancing a lot, but I'll probably dance three or four songs the whole night, but they're the right songs.
Right.
You know, there's times that
Absolutely.
they play three good songs in a row, and you got to dance them, and you're dying. At least I'm dying inside. You're like, oh my god, my cardio is not up to par.
Right.
But
Right. Right.
that balance, that balance is when we find it. Those of us who do, right? It's a beautiful place to be in, right? You have your career. At where I work, we call it work-life balance, and that's something we want to touch about how you balance that out. Even teaching, or you have to have that balance, right? Your personal versus your professional, and be able to balance that out. And that's why we have hobbies. This was actually considered. And remember, I told you all this has been like icing on the cake. This was a hobby job. That's sort of the nickname that we gave it.
Right.
Back then, all of us had hobby jobs. We had our careers, our jobs, and then we had our hobby job. And my hobby job did pretty good.
There you
So
go.
yeah,
No, and I think that's beautiful because at the end of the day, you have you had your tradición. You're able to put el sabor. El sabor subió that you didn't even expect it to get to
hey,
where it got. Super blessed, and that's amazing. And then you were able to eventually balance that out to where you're still able to enjoy it, which is absolutely amazing, brother. Thank you, brother. We are over, I think, 30 minutes.
yeah,
then
we are.
yeah,
I
no,
apologize for
but amazing, brother. Amazing stuff. Just in general, because at the end of the day, I think we're all trying to go for that. We're all trying to have a good time while at the same time do things right, I guess you could say,
Mhm.
where not right by anyone else's standards, but to where I guess just for those that have lived before us, if you would suggest or would say, okay, based on my experience, this is what I have found that the mix between Sabor and Tradicion kind of live. Hang out here, hang out in this spot, and obviously we can always go play, right?
Right.
We can always go play, but as long as we come back to the tradition that we're always going to be in a safe place, while at the same time enjoying the ride. Am I saying that right?
100%. You put it this way: one of the bigger gratitudes. I mean, I've been very blessed. I've gotten lifetime achievement awards. I've gotten this. I've got
Oh my
accolades.
gosh, amazing.
Right. And one of the nicer things that has happened to me, and I get it a lot. Thankfully, I'm blessed. Right. I'll be out to dinner with my family, and I'll have somebody random come up to me. And the last one was pretty funny. A random gentleman, he's an older gentleman. I want to say he's in mid 60s. This happened like about 4 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago. He comes up to my table and he goes, "Excuse me, sorry, sir, but I don't mean to interrupt you. Please don't be alarmed. I just want you're Ramani, right?" And I go, "Yeah, you used to teach at Mystique." And I go, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And he goes, "I want to thank you for teaching me how to dance."
Oof.
And I go, "Okay, no, you're welcome." He goes, "No, no, no. But I want you to understand, because you taught me how to dance. I want you to meet my wife and my kid, because I would not have met my wife if I
Mira
did
para
not know how."
eso. Mira para eso.
So you're part responsible for that. And I've gotten that a couple of times. But
Right.
that one kind of said, because he went out of his way, right? He was done with dinner. Like he waited for us to be done with dinner, and he came by, and he just needed to say that. It was like such a beautiful story. Like,
Amen.
wow. And then I asked him, so I mean, no, but you're gonna go, no, no, no. She would not go out with me unless I took her dancing. And
Boom.
that was the test. If I didn't dance, she wouldn't go out with me on a second date. So I took her to dance, and at Mystique, obviously, and and the rest is history. And I
Wow,
go, wow,
man.
yeah.
Wow,
So
that's
it's a nice little story that I want to say all of us are part of. With
yes.
this
No, no,
with this madness.
absolutely. Absolutely, guys. Keep we'll go ahead and close out here, but guys, at the end of the day, keep your sabor in your tradición, and I think that's
Yep,
a formula for success.
absolutely.
Ramani,
And I appreciate it.
yeah,
Thank
no,
you.
absolutely, man. Thank you, brother. Thank you for all the golden nuggets. I'll be tagging you in all these awesome clips for sure.
Uh,
And for those of
Thank
you
you.
that have stuck out with us for this amazing interview, love you guys. Thank you for your continued loyalty. Andres Fernandez and Ramani Nicola signing out. Sabor y tradición. Good night, everybody.
Good night.